What's going on today, Internet? Selfish here with Retrospect. Today we're going to take a look at a new handheld called the Vortex F5, and it's from a company called QRD. If you're not familiar with QRD, they make some really good controllers, and they're trying to take that technology and bring it over here into the retro handheld space. Are they going to be the next hidden gem? That's what we're here to find out. Let's take a look. If everything's correct here, this should be the Vortex F5 from a new company to the retro space, though they do make controllers, a company called QRD. I tried to track, I got a couple of packages today, but I'm pretty sure this is the only one that's this size. And this should be a RK3566 handheld inside of here. So we're going to open it up, take a look. I'm going to do a first impressions here with it. I really want to play with this. This thing has a lot of potential, so I'm pretty excited about it. So we'll see what's going on here. I know a couple of my friends already got it to review. I was not one of the ones. I was supposed to get this back in February before it came out, and something got messed up and I didn't end up getting it. So they just talked to me a couple days ago. I mean, literally, they shipped it right out. So looks like that's what we got here. So yep, there we go. So we got the QRD Vortex F5 here, and we're going to open her up. Before I go any further, this was supplied by QRD for the purpose of a fair and honest review. They're not sponsoring this video, and all opinions are of my own. Let's tear it open. Okay. It's kind of nice. It's all nice and wrapped up and everything. High quality. This ain't no Pow Kitty, I'll tell you what. Is there some SMR right here? No, it's nothing. Nothing crazy. All right, we'll take a look at the box here. I suppose we could have done that before we pulled all that off of here. So it says you got Hall joysticks, RGB lighting, all that kind of stuff. All right, it's a pretty basic box. Just stuff on the front here. All right. Well, if we can get it out of there, we'll take a look. Perfect. All right, let's see what we got here. So here is the handheld. It does come with Type A to Type C cable. Awesome. So Type C charging, that's a good thing. Looks like down here we have an origami accordion. Oh boy. Oh, it's all different languages. I was like, what? Origami accordion in lots of different languages. It looks bigger than it really is. Not a lot on here. It does have HDMI out, so it does talk about TV connectivity and stuff like that. So if that's important to you, definitely take a look at this manual here if you're having any problems. Okay, let's get this box out of the way. This was inspected by number 12. Awesome, number 12. Keep up the good work. And should we do the rug pull? Woo! It worked. And we'll get the foam off. Ooh, that is a nice looking handheld. Ooh, yeah, that is comfortable, no doubt. But these actually feel like the joysticks out of the Retroid Pocket Flip. These are going to be Hall effect joysticks, and these are a little bit shorter. They're pretty close to the Retroid Pocket Flip. We got a whole different combination of squishy and clicky buttons. All right, we'll take a look at the I/O real quick, and we will start at the top like we always do. We do have our bumpers and our triggers. Now, these triggers are said to be Hall effect according to their website. Okay. They're definitely not analog, so I'm not sure what would make them Hall effect, because they're getting pushed back by the button itself, not by any kind of magnet as far as I could tell. But that's all right. We'll just kind of keep moving. We do have volume up and down. Looks like they're backward. Looks like this might have been a design by Pow Kitty. I'm pretty sure this is the same order that they were in the X55 too. I unfortunately just got rid of my X55, so I could have done a comparison, but I don't have it anymore. Looks like we got some ventilation right here on the top. I'm not sure if there's active cooling in here, but no, there's no input for it. But we do have some ventilation here on the top, which is always good to keep these things cool. We do have an HDMI out right here, and then we do have a power button right there. Awesome. So the top is full of all kinds of stuff. On the back here, we don't have a whole lot of stuff. You can see the battery back here, and we'll go over the rest of the specs here in a minute and talk about what that battery is. On the bottom down here, we do have dual speakers, one on the left and right. They are downward firing. We have a TF hole right here. This is TF1 with no card in it. Weird. We do have a controller hole right here. We do have a 3.5 hole for listening to some tunes. We do have a DC and OTG hole, and we do have a TF2 hole. And we got a card in here. Looks like it's 128 gigabytes. You can come out, but you can't go back in. All right. It's in there a ways. All right. Left side here, we have nothing. Right side over here, we have nothing. On the front here, we do have our start and select buttons up on the top. They're clicky, but not too loud. We also have our face buttons that have a decent amount of rebound. They get pretty flat. They get really flat, actually, with the casing. Not typically something we would see. You usually you're up a little bit, but they're not getting stuck under the lip or anything. It's probably because they have rounded corners, but that's okay. It's all you need. So that'll work. Our D-pad over here is a short pivot again. I think this is gonna get flat as well. Oh yeah, she gets flat. Okay. And then we do have down here a home and a reset button, and those are a little bit clicky. Then we do have our joysticks. Again, these are Hall effect sticks. They do have L3 and R3, and they feel good. And then we do have 5.5-inch IPS display here, and we'll see if we can get the good feels out of this one. Ooh, yeah, that was nice. Well, it's a nice looking device. This already feels to me like the Anbernic RG556. They have very similar ergonomics here. Look at that. 556's bumps are actually a little bit more aggressive than the Vortex F5, but they are very similar. The 556 is one of my favorite handhelds for comfort, that's for sure. So this is a very comfortable handheld to hold. Similar size screen. Now this one here is an OLED on the 556. We're not going to get that. We're going to get that IPS here on the Vortex, which for the price, I wouldn't expect an OLED display. All right, let's take a look at some stuff here. We are going to boot this up real quick and go over the specs. Here we do have the QRD Vortex F5. It is running Linux. It's actually running Emulate on Linux as far as the front end and everything goes. It is a 5.5 IPS HD OCA display. Oh, cool. They made a gold one. What is going on here? Mortal Kombat? Yeah. Whoa. Again, the volume hit up and down or backward. That was a big thing. I'm sure with some custom firmware, somebody will flop those back around. All right, so this is a 5.5-inch IPS HD OCA laminated display. The resolution is 1280 by 720. It is running an RK3566 at 1.8 gigahertz. And it does have 1 gigabyte of LPDDR4X RAM. It does have 8 gigabytes of eMMC storage, Hall effect sticks. They say also Hall effect triggers. Okay. It does not have Wi-Fi built in, which is really odd for a 3566. For its audio, as I pointed out before, it does have these dual speakers down here on the bottom. They are downward firing. It does have HDMI, RGB, as you can see around the sticks. It does have a USB-C, OTG, and USB-C, and also a USB-C for your controllers. And it does have that 3.5mm jack for your tunes on your headphones. The battery is a 5,000 milliamp battery. It should give you about 6 hours, and you can add a 512 gigabyte SD card to this bad boy on top of your first one. So you could actually technically have a gig, because you'd be, wow, a gig. Yeah, a whole gig. You could technically have a terabyte with two 512s in here. Let's find out what it's all about. So it looks like we got a pretty good selection of systems in here. We got our Capcoms. We got all kinds of arcade stuff in here. Final Burn. We got our CPS stuff. Media player here that's going to be used for playing videos and things like that. Looks like there's a couple of videos on here, probably promos, I'm guessing. Maybe. Yep. I don't know what that promo is for. Was that for this? Oh, that looks sweet and clear. Can we get clear? Oh, look at that. Dude, I'm loving that. Is that this handheld? It has to be. Yeah. Oh, that looks so good. Can we get one of those? QRD, can you make that? That is a really sexy looking handheld. All right, we need to stop this bad boy. Home. There we go. Nope. Oh no, what did I do? I reset it. No, I hit the reset button. Okay, I'm gonna have to learn where those are. So start and select are in the right spots, but the reset there is yeah, it's right there. I'm sure I'm gonna hit that again. Okay, so then there's a different one that's white and gold. I like the clear one that was in that video. Oh, this theme is good sometimes, and sometimes it drives me nuts. I think this is a Switch theme. Let's just do this real quick. Oh. What is my select button? There we go. Oh, it's just the full one. Maybe this is the Switch one. That's... What? That's the same one I just had. They're all the same, just lighter and darker. Okay. But we're going to keep going through here anyways. Now it's hard to see. Okay, we'll go back to what we started with. Buttons seem pretty easy to use. Okay, so we got our Capcoms. We got our setup screen. I do not believe this is a touch screen. Nope. It's a big, beautiful screen. No touch screen. That's a bummer. Let's see... So Game Boy, NES, N64, GBA, NDS, Genesis, Game Gear, PlayStation, PSP, PSP Minis, all games. Oh no, are all the ROM libraries numbered? Oh boy, that's not fun. It's hard to find games that way. And they're not in English, which is difficult for me, but probably okay for other people. Is that how these all are? No, okay. So I'm guessing that's Final Burn. That's like that. No? Which one? Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but usually you can't... Oh, because they have the hashtag in them, don't they? So that'll be at the bottom. Yeah, I think that's how that works. Oh, I got favorites. I haven't even played this thing yet. Is this why Mortal Kombat was playing, I wonder? There's 5 Mortal Kombat games loaded up in the favorites. Sweet. They got little lists there. So it's not... Maybe it's not arcade. I don't know where we're getting these numbered games from. Because it's almost always in arcade, or it's in Atari. Ah, it's Atari. Okay, well, it's gonna be hard to find Atari games. I'm guessing Capcom's probably not like that, yeah. But, oh, these are in file names, though, and they are numbered. Okay, well, I mean, it is what it is. If you haven't noticed, though, like, so far what I've looked at, they've had... I'm going to go into this, and it doesn't, because we're in the numbers. Get out of the numbers, I bet you this has box art. Oh, my goodness. Just want to get out of the numbers so I can see box art. Oh, this one all has numbers. Because usually if it's not numbered... Yeah, so if it's not numbered, we have box art for it. That's really cool. So they did a really good job here scraping these. That takes a lot of time, so they spent the time to do it. But, you know, you kind of get away with it with stuff when you put the number ones on here. That's okay. So, it's like 50-50. Okay, well, we can deal with that. I'm okay with that. It's got the games there, it just can maybe take a little bit to find them. I'm going to guess that select is search. Why? Okay, I always forget what emulate uses. Okay, so I'm just going to guess there's no Mario. Oh, well, there's not going to be in PlayStation. What am I doing? I want to see if there's any Mario games on here. Oh, from here, can I do Y? Yes, okay. Boy, I'm just clumsy today. This is not this thing's fault at all. Mario Brothers Arcade and Small Mario. So yeah, so they took the Nintendo games off here, which is smart, honestly. Nintendo branded stuff is smart to take off. Nintendo has a tendency to go after these companies. So let's see what we got for scripts in here. Oh yeah, we got all kinds of good stuff here. What I think I'm gonna do is just try to play a couple of games here, and then we'll come back to the system. I'm also going to check to see if there's an update. I noticed on their website that there is an update for this. So what version of software are we on? Does it tell me? It's not going to go OTA because we don't have Wi-Fi. Okay, well, I'm going to set this up to play some games on it. So it's already pretty much set up, but I'm going to just set things up the way that I want them to be. I'm going to double check to see if there is a software update for it because I saw one on their website. So I'm assuming that this needs to get updated. I'm sure this has been in the box for a while, so I'm sure I have to update it real quick, which I'll get done. God, this thing's comfortable. But I'll get that done here real quick, and then we'll play a couple games, and we'll kind of come back at the back end. Again, this is just kind of a first impression video. I just kind of want to get what it would be like for somebody getting it and unboxing it at home, and what their experience is going to be like. And then I will come back here in about a week or two, and I'll have played this for a long time, and we'll talk more about it. But let's take a look and just see what we can do here. Before I go any further, I just want to say thank you to QRD for having the confidence to send the Vortex F5 to me for a fair and honest review. If this is something that you decide you want, there will be links down in my thingamabob. Now let's conclude this thing. So let's go through everything here real quick on this handheld. It's a fun little handheld. I'm not going to lie. It's actually a lot of fun. With its 1280 by 720 display, it looks great for retro games. There's no fan, so you don't have to worry about noise. You know, I kind of pointed out these vents, but there is no fan, so you don't have to worry about noise. And it does smell very retro. It actually smells like plastic. The Vortex F5 with its RK3566 has plenty of power for retro games. Because this is a first look video, I try to pick up and play without modifying much in the emulators just for that like quote unquote retail experience. This plays NES really easily, SNES no sweat. Game Boy it basically sleeps through along with like GBA, MSX1 and 2, Neo Geo, Sega Master System, etc. Like it's playing through all the systems just fine. It performs very well. PS1 is good, like this F5 was actually basically made for running PS1. N64, I tried it, bless this little CPU's heart. It's a bit spotty with challenging games like Cruisin' USA, which is kind of to be expected, but then like Duke Nukem 64 play without issues. So you're just going to have to try your games out in your library and see what does and doesn't work. Dreamcast is very similar to N64, except for you have some more games that worked, at least for me in my library. I had a higher success rate on Dreamcast. PSP, you can play it, a lot of games at 2x, but they do require frame skip, and by default, frame skip is actually set up in here. So just so you're aware, this PPSSP build is different, it looks different, it's set up different than ones that I've used in the past, which is really odd because I thought I'd used them all, but this is set up with the God of War hacks, so it makes that game tolerable if you do want to play God of War on here. Not my favorite way to play it, but you can definitely do it. The build's also missing network options for things like retro achievements. Even if you have to use a dongle, which is required to get internet on here, it still would be nice to be able to do retro achievements in PPSSPP, and it's also restricted to OpenGL. There's no Vulkan support. So if you try loading your own emulators on here, make sure you stay out of Vulkan or you'll break those specific emulators. No matter what I tried, I couldn't get HDMI out to work. I even tried starting with the handheld off, no dice. The monitor I was using is a bit picky, however, so if the Cosmos weren't aligned, it could have easily been the issue. QRD did tell me that they are coming out with yet another firmware edition for this, so hopefully they'll fix some of the issues with Wi-Fi. I know that this doesn't have Wi-Fi built in and you're required to use a dongle, but there is no option to put your password in even when you use a dongle. So if you find your network, you still can't log into it if you have a password. So it would be nice if they'd at least add that box so we could put a password in and get on the Wi-Fi or get on, even just using a dongle. I personally think that it could be a good contender for Gamma OS. It'd be a layup if it had 2 gigs of RAM. Unfortunately, it only has 1 gig of RAM, but I think there's still a lot of opportunity here with Gamma. I think a Lineage operating system would be great for this thing. I found that the 5,000 milliamp battery does pretty good. Expect like 3 to 4 hours of heavyish gameplay. It also seemed to accept any of my 5-volt 2-amp chargers, so at least it's not as picky as you can fill in the blank. So the QRD F5 isn't a powerhouse, but it is scrappy. If you want an affordable way to relive your childhood on a nice 5.5-inch screen, I'd say this is a solid option. If you're looking to emulate Switch, this is not going to be the right solution for you. But that's all I got for you today. Don't forget to smash that like button like a Mad Catz controller. Subscribe for more handheld chaos and retro regrets. Comment below, should I test Doom on this next? And then check out one of these videos on the top of the screen that YouTube picked for you. They say you're going to like it, so obviously you're going to like it. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.